Kwekwe, kulemansi mamawan, minda shinsinishwa kakumakwak, shita tegaloyate, Kanien'kehá. Ninguh Kanien'kehá shita mohakwa, wak ninkoh naka alamapoh lenapewa, wak nawalataman wendak takwa. Hello everyone, my name is Two Clouds. In the Lenape language that I was speaking, it's Nishwak Akumakwak, but in the Mohawk language, it's Tegaloyate, and this is the name that was given to me by my Laganoha'a, my uncle out in the Mohawk Reservation, Akosasne. It means two skies as opposed to two clouds. My mother, she's Mohawk, Kanien'kehá. My father, he is Ramapo Lenape from Catskill Mountains here in New York, New Jersey, the Hudson River going out to the Delaware River. And the Walatama one Takwa, I followed the way of the turtle clan. So one of the, when I was asked to give my 2 cents on this topic of the Kanien'kehá, and we're all being in the area of Tioga or Tioga. I was pretty thrilled. This is something that is close to my heart because this is where my family is from. My Mohawk family is from there. And when you look through the old text, it's very hard to come by facts. It will say either the Ganastoga lived in that area or the Seneca lived in that area of Tioga County, Athens, and all of that whole area there. But there's not an understanding of the way the Haudenosaunee or the Iroquois is arranged accurately. These are some things that myself, I'm learning from my Laganoha'a, my uncle, Ganalatillo, Roger Jack, who himself, he's one of the elders and he is a traditional chief of Akwesasne, the Mohawk reservation that is positioned on the St. Lawrence River, upstate New York and Quebec, Ontario. And he's been teaching me many things as well as many of the other elders. One of the main misconceptions, in my opinion, about the Haudenosaunee, the 5 Nations Confederacy, initially they were on the 6 Nations after the Tuscarora joined them, is that historians and many people who think outside of the native mindset seem to believe that the Mohawk were in their area, the Seneca were in their area to the west of the Mohawk, and in between them you had the Cayuga, the Aradaga, and the Oneida, and everyone just stayed there. And then the Tuscarora came, and they were positioned there in the center, and no one ever traveled anywhere. But that is not the case at all. Actually, going into the mid to late 1700s, the Haudenosaunee included, from its position in modern upstate New York going into western New York, the Buffalo area. It also included as far west as Michigan, as far south as Western Virginia, and as far east as virtually the entire state of New York, and everything within those bounds there. And piece by piece, the colonial government began to acquire this land from the Haudenosaunee. One of the best for this topic here in Pennsylvania. One of the best sources is actually the 1758 Treaty of Easton, which I actually have here. It's the 1758 Treaty of Easton, which was held in Easton. In this treaty, without going too deep into it, and this is actually one of my fields of study, is treaty law. The Treaty of Easton is a treaty that affected the Munsee Lenape people. That's my father's people, and that's the tribe that I myself am enrolled in. The Ramapo Munsee Lenape people. The language that I spoke in the beginning is the Munsee language that we call Kanien'kehá. So this treaty is one that hit very close to home to me, since I am an enrolled member of a Munsee tribe. At the same time, since the Mohawk and Onondaga and the Haudenosaunee were essentially the oppressors on the native side. They were the oppressors in this scenario. It's like, man, my mom's people kind of, suppressed my dad's people. Now, the Mohawk and Onondaga, as written within this Treaty of Easton, that took place in Pennsylvania, getting rid of all of the remaining Lenape lands in New Jersey. So upon forcing the Munsee to sign this Treaty of Easton, which took place in Pennsylvania, it shows that one, the Haudenosaunee, primarily the Mohawk, had authority over the Lenape people, since they were able to essentially force many of the Lenape to relinquish the ties to our land in northern Jersey, from the Raritan River to the border of New York State. Even though New Jersey has never been the territory of the Haudenosaunee, it shows that the Iroquois were traveling, you could say. They were conquering, is what they were doing at that time. When we also look at in Philadelphia, in around the same time, the 1750s, I believe it was also 1758, the Tree of Peace was planted in Philadelphia. Now, the Tree of Peace, according to the Haudenosaunee, the creation story of the Confederacy itself speaks about a prophet called the Peacemaker. And this Peacemaker came from the territory of the Huron, crossed over the big lake, I believe it was Lake Ontario, and met with Hiawatha. When he met with Hiawatha, and they spoke about the treachery that had been happening, the fighting that had been happening within the Iroquois people, the Five Nations, the Mohawk and Seneca, Onondaga, Oneida, Cayugas, the fighting that was going on and killing each other and, nonstop. They went, the Peacemaker and Hiawatha went to each of the nations. They went to the worst of the people first. This is how my uncle has explained it to me. The Peacemaker and Hiawatha went to the very worst of the people, the Iroquois people first. They were the Kanien'kehá, the Mohawk. They went to the Mohawk and told them to join in this way of peace, and after a lot of convincing, they did. The Mohawk joined this way. And they went to each of these, the